Fueling for exercise, have a small snack that is high in carbs and low in fat and protein. What did my old standby when I was grinding it out hard? Half a bagel and half of a banana. About half an hour before my workout. Half, easy to remember. That worked for me. That might not work for everybody, but that was more than sufficient. If anybody has ever seen any power lifter or anything of the like doing huge amounts of squatting weight, like I'm just calling huge, like over 500 pounds, frequently they'll have a 5-gallon pail next to them and they'll hurl between sets. That's because all of the blood is here. None of it's up here. None of it's in the viscera. Nausea is a frequent side effect of maximum exertion. Okay? Truthfully. A lot of power.
What's the point of doing that? I don't understand.
Well,
It can be fun.
if they're a powerlifting enthusiast, they want to do as much as they can. You know, that's what gets it for them. You
That's why
know.
they call him meathead.
And then, what's that?
That's why they call him
I
meathead.
lift
Yes.
things up and I put things down.
And
I did that
have
once in the
never
gym, a
seen
lot
it
in the
here.
army.
Never seen it here, but I've heard like at the really big meccas, like at Muscle Beach and things like that in California. Yeah, they'll wear Depends and that kind of thing.
What?
They
Oh
might
my
mess
gosh.
themselves too while they're doing that. So
Actually,
Sounds like a great
really,
sport.
okay.
really gross thing.
So anyways,
No,
somebody asked a
I thought that
question
was
earlier.
hot.
During exercise, 30 to 60 grams of carbs per hour to maintain blood glucose levels. Usually that's easily obtained by any of your sports drinks, okay? After exercise, focus on carbs and protein. Not just protein, carbs and protein. We all get that. Okay, glycemic index, okay? This is coming to the fore with our population of diabetics and pre-diabetics. Okay, the glycemic index ranks carbohydrates based in their blood glucose response. Okay, high GI foods break down rapidly and create a large glucose spike. Low GI foods are more slowly digested and create a smaller glucose increase. Now, high GI foods are good for refueling, whereas low GI foods are better for heart health. Glycemic load, glycemic index times grams of carbohydrates. Okay, that's kind of a bunch of hoo-ha. But anyways, anybody know a diabetic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They usually don't want to get spiky stuff, okay? They usually kind of stay in these realms, so they kind of try to not have too many peaks and too many valleys, okay? And again, Nathan has more experience than I do, but if you get diabetics that are starting to crash and they're conscious, usually we try to get some sugar into them, okay? But now, what I notice here at the college level, and again, I'll pick on the women more so than the men, a lot of the girls, especially in the dorms, they're concerned with vanity, but transient vanity. Remember, young people want immediate gratification. So before spring break, we'll get a spike in cardio work like 2 days before spring break, and we both know that's not going to succeed in doing anything. Well, anyways, same thing true near spring break and whatnot. I'll have people feeling woozy and so forth. Sit them down. Young lady, when's the last time you ate something? Oh, last night. And then, of course, they look like a gerbil on the wheel, you know, in a pet shop, you know, thinking that they're going to fix all their ills in one day. That's usually a sure sign of a hypoglycemic episode. Again, I always have fruit, usually some unsweetened fruit juice. Bring it up slowly, but it's like putting water on a flower. You know, Nathan will agree. If you figure out what's going on, now, again, you don't want to prescribe anything or do something to somebody if you don't know what the effects are, of course. But it's pretty hard to go wrong with a piece of fruit or something if somebody's feeling woozy. Of course, they should tell you if they're a diabetic, if they are, which isn't always the case. Okay, choosing healthy protein. Okay. Remember, most of your proteins, not all, but most of them, usually come from animal tissue, right? Of course, we have the proteins available in vegetables too. All right? Protein is not the only consideration. Some foods are high in protein, but also in saturated fat, not making them the best choices. Example given, beef. That's what I said to some of your other quadrupeds, deer, elk, caribou, wildebeest, mastodon, no, not mastodon, but some of your more
They're in
wild
danger.
game is going to be much lower in fat due to what they have to do for a living, okay? Protein timing. Faster and slower digestion rates influence which types to consume for adequate availability post-workout. Like I said, that's what's nice. Some of your beans are easily assimilated rapidly, okay? And like I said, I've experimented with them. Other than the effects of me farting all over the place, I like what they do, okay? Protein supplementation and diets. You could beat this to death. Gang, I gave you the formula. We're all somewhat healthy individuals here and somewhat active. Usually your body weight, figure what it is in kilos and times by 1.5, you're probably gonna be in good condition. So remember to get your weight in kilos, divide it by 2.2, find that number, times by 1.5, and you should be good to go, okay? Now, okay, when evaluating a high protein diet, keep these considerations. Total protein intake should be proportionate. You've heard that before, right? Not all protein is created equal. Carbs should not be omitted or severely restricted. Protein should not occur excess total fat, or should not contain excess total fat. We get that too. Clean protein. Eating plants should be safe and provide adequate nutrients. Shouldn't be one thing. Protein intake should come from whole foods. All right. Fat and sports nutrition. This is a neat slide. The ADA recommends that athletes consume a comparable proportion of food from fat as the general population. Okay? 20 to 25% of total calories. Like I said, I messed with that with myself, but I was still getting a well-rounded diet. Notice, performance does not benefit from a low-fat or high-fat diet. Okay, that's performance, not physique, but having said that, a lot of people erroneously play with that, thinking they're doing themselves a favor. All right? Here we are, fluid hydration, okay? And these are recommended. All right, 2 hours prior to exercise, drink 500 to 600 milliliters. 17 to 20 ounces, not several gallons. Every 10 to 20 minutes during exercise, drink about 7 to 10 ounces, preferably based on sweat losses, i.e. what you'd feel thirsty at. Following exercise, okay, drink 450 to 650 milliliters for every 0.5 kilogram of body weight, or 16 to 24 ounces for every pound, okay? That might be excessive, but anyways, fluid hydration guidelines. Use thirst to determine fluid needs. Did anybody hear that earlier tonight? Okay. Aim for a 1-to-1 ratio of replacement. Know how much is being consumed. Yeah, I know I drank 3 gallons today, okay. Drink fluids with sodium during prolonged exercise sessions. If you do a marathon or some kind of a distance, they usually have Gatorade or some of the other things that have some sodium in them, okay? Now, there used to be something I really liked that's not around anymore. Anybody do road races 20 years ago? Okay, there was something called Exceed that I liked better than Gatorade. It tasted horrible, but it seemed to give you a better feeling of well-being. I think it might have been a little higher in sugar, but also a little higher in sodium. I haven't seen that for many, many years, but I liked it. Okay?
Did you when you did the marathons, did you partake in the hammer packets?
Ew.
Oh, they're
No,
No.
I find the texture of it revolting. I can't do it.
the jelly stuff, right?
And I'm so slow, Nathan. anything that I wanted to try, by the time I got to the table was already taken. All that was left was chocolate, and it's like, I don't want that in my
I ate
mouth.
it up like it was.
Huh?
I had one every stop.
Did ya?
One or two every
You
stop.
done the Bay Shore or
Yeah,
something?
last 3 years.
Nice. I'm not doing it this year. Doing it this year?
I'm signed up, but I'm toying with it because my ankle.
When is it?
May 24th.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I don't do those things because I hate to sound like a wuss, I don't like the texture of the stuff. So Jan would meet me periodically on the course and I'd get my banana and I'd drink a Diet Pepsi. And, what's that?
You and your Diet Pepsi,
I both
man.
got it. Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. Gotta test the variable.
What's in the goo stuff or whatever?
It's
just
a
calories.
jelly.
Calories
Yeah.
and electrolytes.
Complex.
We take them
caffeine.
to our bikes
Yeah.
for long bike
Caffeine.
races and you take them.
Yeah.
How much is
And-
it, like, just
and
couple ounces?
it's
an ounce.
It's a
Yeah,
little
an ounce.
metal packet and you just rip it off and squeeze it
But
in,
it's
you know?
really thick, so it is hard to swallow, but
Think
once
of it
you've
like-
used
like-
them, you
There's
can.
a-
Two of these.
Synthetic honey.
Think of it as.
You can
Yeah.
even,
Like
if you
two of
could,
these.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
if you could have an ounce of honey, it would be much better for you. But how do you store it?
Yeah. And yeah, so I don't mean to sound like a wuss, but I can't take the texture of it. Now, if I make my own frosting, if I'm making a dessert or something, yeah, I'll eat a little bit of it, but it's like normally I have water or milk or Diet Pepsi or something to drink, rinse it down with, so.
Most of them have caffeine, but they do have ones
Yeah.
that don't. But it just gives you more of a boost,
Yeah.
especially when you're racing or doing an event.
But yeah, I just can't do them. So, but if you do a marathon, most
Is it
people,
24th
they
of full
feel
marathon?
like hell at the end of it anyway.
6.2
But
mile.
last marathon was my most comfortable.
24th, yeah.
I didn't like wanna take a nap or anything, I took a shower, my hip, pelvic girdle sore, but I went to Outback with Jan and kinda walked a little bit fun
Yeah.
for a while.
You're
you
riding a
know?
horse or something.
Yeah, I highly recommend it, if you think you have that in your makeup, it helps you in life, because Nathan, I think, will agree, you do a marathon, it's like, I can do anything, if you did your first one, you feel like that, hell, I can do that, I can do anything.
How long is the marathon? 20?
26.2 miles, so 26 miles and 385 yards. Not that I was
What's the time
counting.
estimate for like,
Huh?
what's time, like what did you run if you don't?
Slow,
Yeah, like how?
fastest I ever did one was 5:05, that's very slow.
If you didn't drink Diet Pop
Yeah.
along the
Yeah.
way, you might
And
have done a
exercise.
little better.
Caffeine.
I remember I did my first one, in my late 40s, I'm not making excuses, but I've had many surgeries and all that stuff. I just wanted to finish the damn thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And do it under 6 hours, that was my goal. I almost broke the 4 hour, never quite did. Funny thing about carb drinks, what was your time, Nathan?
My first year was 352.
Okay.
For a 10K?
No.
No.
Marathon.
Oh,
Well,
for a whole
anyways,
marathon.
Okay, gang, if you're not familiar with the area, okay, it goes out the Old Mission Peninsula, you turn around at Burst, go, and then you follow Center Road, East Shore Road, Center Road, get on Bluff Road, turn around at Bursar Road and come back, and you end at the Traverse City Central's field. Well, I'm slow. About 2 miles out on East Shore Drive, one of the aid stations, which should have stayed open because the people that are slow need it the most, they vacated it and some spring breakers commandeered the table and they started pouring cups of beer.
Yeah.
And
They were
so-
there last year too.
Yes, and so anyways, I said, what time is it? Dude, you look like hell. Just tell me what time it is. And they said, I think they said it was like 11:30 or something. Okay, I can finish this thing. I can get 2 miles under a half hour. I drank 6 cups of beer with them, and I felt great. It's
6
hard.
cups?
He's like, here we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. So, anyways, but here's what's funny, and you saw that, Nathan, right? The spring breakers. Well, there was a guy farther up Center Road, and he had the keg out when I was going out. Save me a cup, dude. It was empty when I came back, so I missed that, but at least I got a few here. So I burped at the finish line. Jan met me. You been drinking? I
What have you
said.
been doing?
She goes, were those kids at that table again? Is what she said. Yes. So long story short, my first marathon, I would have been under 5 hours. A guy went down at Eastern Avenue on East Shore Road, and I went to see if he was okay. And people were standing around like freaking idiots. I said, hey, this guy needs some help. Does anybody have a cell phone? And finally somebody sauntered by, and the guy grabs me. Dude, keep running. I'm not leaving you, man, until I know you're okay. And then a lady says, okay. I said, call 911. And so I'm holding his hand. Are you sure you're okay? Go finish. So, but yeah, I couldn't believe it. And at that point, that was several years ago, they had a fire engine there, but it was a vintage one. But I'm thinking, are these people idiots? It took me to go, hey, does anybody have a cell phone? Before, they got keeled over and,
Jeez.
yes. Okay, gastric emptying refers to taking it, no, not to take a dump. Emptying refers to the passage of food from the stomach to the small intestine, okay? During exercise, cramps, reflux, side stitch, gas or nausea can occur due to reduced gastric emptying, i.e. the guy doing squats, okay? Delayed transit time, decreased blood flow.
Okay, wait a second. So sometimes when I'm doing hard cardio, I get a stitch
Mhm.
right in the side here. Is that what it's talking about?
Could be. You might be also, though, hard cardio, a lot of the blood might be here, so you're being deprived here. It's hard to say. But again, nausea, reduced gastric emptying, what? Because we're not working here, we got the quads going. More so than anything, I've never felt nauseous doing any kind of exercise other than legs. Legs, if you're squatting a lot of weight, it's not just legs, it's a whole body workout. Your core and your trunk are supporting immense amounts of weight over your center of gravity. Of course, you're working your quads and your glutes and your hamstrings, but also you're supporting that with your body column. Squats can be deemed a total body workout in every sense of the word. I really get excited when I see anybody doing some nice weight and doing it nicely.
So is the side cramping when you're doing a lot of the running and whatnot predominantly from that?
I don't know the answer to that. I do not know the relationship, if it is due to gastric emptying or electrolyte imbalance during a long bout of exercise, etc. Like I said, gang, if I don't know the answer, I'm gonna tell you.
I heard it was like. the
They
way
felt
you take
compelled
your
to put
breaths
that
in,
on the screen though.
Something like that, like too quick or something.
Okay,
Mhm.
this is kind
Yeah,
of
if I
dumb, I'm
control
gonna
it,
go
let's go
past
away.
it. Preparing the gut for competition, okay, yes?
Before I do competitions, I take a lot of Imodium
Mm-hmm.
as an example of pre,
Oh, do you?
oh yeah.
Okay.
What is it?
Yeah,
What is it?
we had one of my buddies that works with us, he did it with us as well, and he has the hardest time going to the bathroom
Yeah.
because he's nervous, you know, so his reflex is not to go. Well, the whole time, he couldn't go until like mile 16, so finally I had to stop and go, but
Yeah,
I go right before him.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm
That's a-
that way too.
I always
but
feel like I have to go.
Yeah.
If there's high tension,
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
the first thing that happens to
Yeah,
me.
he-
I gotta take it down.
Yep.
Or is a police officer, hey gang, I'm not macho, I get scared all the time. Okay, the most scared I ever was a police officer, I got a call with a choking baby, no EMS around. Well, if I don't fix the problem, the kid's gonna die. That's the most frightened I've ever been as a police officer. Thank God, I didn't even have to do the back blow. I turned her over, it popped out. A chicken McNugget,
Oh.
an 8-month-old.
Oh.
I did a little report called the Form 3200 to DHS on that one. So anyways, there's not such a beautiful noise as a child crying. I was like, oh, good, I got an airway, and the dispatcher goes, good work, it's like they could hear the crying when I keyed up my mic. Of course, what kind of a moron would give a child of 8 months a chicken McNugget? Well, that's Mansalona. But anyways,
Not to mention a whole one.
yeah, so, but after that, I couldn't get to the bathroom fast enough though. But so, like I said, before a marathon, yeah, that's all about it, everybody's different.
Before every competition, there's lines.
Oh, yes.
Lines.
Yeah. And when I was competing, when I woke up and if I did my duty, it's like, yeah, I feel good, I'm good to go now, you know?
I hate that feeling. I'll try to go to the bathroom like 6 times before the event starts.
Yeah.
Nothing's worse than not being able to go.
Okay, gang, and we're gonna be a realist. You know what world-class marathoners do? They go in their shorts.
Yeah.
They're not gonna stop for that
I got a
with
picture of
modesty.
that.
Yeah, so you see the guy
Dedication.
interviewing him, hey, it was a nice run, you know? You got a question on it, though, when I was,
No, I'm just surprised at what you're saying.
that's what?
They have photos on the internet, it's nasty.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. I sent one to somebody once.
Well, a
One of the
lot-
girls I
lot
work
of
out
them
with
do. A
dedication.
lot of them too, they'll become so fatigued that they'll just lose body
Mhm.
function.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. The what, like intense marathoners that are just like full
Yep.
out?
Pardon me?
Typically, they're like the Ironmans and stuff.
Yeah,
where it's,
Yeah.
like
where it's
very.
like a 16-hour event.
Yeah.
People,
But your elite marathoners too, yeah, they just go in their shorts, because their performance,
Do they have like
There you go.
pens on, or do they just?
no, because that
Like
causes
they just
fatigue.
keep running.
No, they just go.
Die.
they just
Then they
go.
get a rash or
Dedication.
something.
But normally, an elite marathoner, they'll only
Oh.
urinate, they won't defecate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're like a well-trained animal, you know. Anybody ever see the Budweiser Clydesdales at the Cherry Festival?
Because winning isn't everything. It's the
Yeah.
only thing.
They don't, those horses don't leave a load
Yeah.
on Front Street, because they are, days in advance, they're planning their next event, and horses are quite regular. They don't have a brain like we do, and they don't have as many issues, so they just eat their grains and do what they do on a regular cycle. The Clydesdales, I have never seen a load behind them, and I've seen a lot of Cherry Festival parades. But again, us humans, we don't have that. Okay, optimizing heart health. Okay, coronary heart disease develops from atherosclerosis and can lead to angina and myocardial infarction. MI, that's known as, in layman's terms, the big one. Okay? Eat a diet rich in fruits and veggies, of course, whole grains, high fiber foods. Consume your oily fishes at least twice a week. Okay? They mean oily fishes, salmon, swordfish, that kind of thing. Now remember, then you have to worry about DDT and some of these other things though too in the fish, because your top chain predators, everything bad in small quantities bioaccumulates in them because they eat a bunch of small things.
Is
Sir,
there a fish oil you're not supposed to ingest?
is there?
Yeah, like if you you don't eat fish, so you supplement it with fish oil.
I don't know the answer to that. Now,
I do know
Oh,
a little
okay.
bit about fish oil.
Sure.
The way you know if you're gonna have good fish oil, you put it in the freezer
Yeah,
and it shouldn't freeze.
shouldn't
It
freeze.
shouldn't freeze. The plastic around it would be a little harder, but it should not freeze because
Okay.
oil doesn't freeze.
Okay.
because I don't take any of that,
Was
my
cut or
girlfriend
something?
does. And the
Was
other,
cut
the
or
other
freeze?
option to get fish oil is called krill oil. And krill is the small, the nearly microscopic, arthropods that the filter feeders use in the smaller fish, like the alewives and the mackerels and stuff. So remember, if you're a top chain predator, if they have like 2 parts per million and so forth,
You eat 1,000,000.
yeah, and it keeps coming up, so you're gonna have more with what's called bioaccumulation. So you gotta be conscious of the fish. Also, some of the heavy metals like mercury can be concentrated in your upper chain predators. So if somebody's concerned about being pregnant or whatever, you might wanna be careful with that, though. Other than that, though, fish is awesome, okay?
Is
Obvious-
it strictly for heart health or does it have other benefits as well?
Oh, oily fish? Yeah, it's a good source of protein, too.
Like I know like my brother used to take those little like that the capsule of
Fish oil
and
tablets?
stuff. Yeah.
They're oily fish.
There's
Okay.
also-
But she's just talking about
Salmon more so
supplementation.
than the tuna, though.
Her primary question, I think, is just for the sake of what's maybe the benefit of the supplementation
yeah,
of the
like
fish oil.
why would my
Oh.
brother take those? Like,
Some people believe that it can enhance joint health as well.
mental health. memory, it improves your memory, and also I know some people take it for brain injuries. It helps them a lot.
Mhm. And then, and on that line, the presenile dementia, that kind of thing. Although, if you get into the realm of Alzheimer's, though, that's usually a genetic component to that. So it's, dementia will drive you crazy. Alzheimer's will make you want to shoot yourself, and they can't help it. They can remember stuff that happened 70 years ago, but they can't remember 2 minutes
Breakfast.
ago. It's very sad. So trying to get, especially if someone with Alzheimer's isn't feeling well, it's hard to get, right, Nathan? Trying to get straight answers with somebody to see what's going on.
Omega-3s are good for energy level too, isn't it?
You have to, like I said, there's a lot to be said in the omega-3s and so forth.
Sixes.
Like I said, and that made reference to it easier. The folic acids, or folic acid and folate is very important. If you're gonna try to get that through vegetables, usually the brightly colored ones are gonna have the higher amount of folate. And again, more important for women than men, even though it's important for both women. It's even
women,
more
for
important for
pregnant.
women.
Yeah,
Pregnancies.
pregnancies.
Hypertension, I already passed out the criteria for that, right? That was last night. Pre-hypertension, type 1, type 2, remember that handout from yesterday? Okay, you have these things, okay? Hypertension is the leading cause of stroke in the US, ouch. Physical activity and nutrition are important in reducing blood pressure. Okay, physical activity, I don't care who you are, if you became imbued in some kind of meaningful cardiovascular work, your blood pressure should go down. Not during the exercise by itself, but afterward, of course. Okay, and then the DASH plan, that was designed for the hypertension, dietary assistance to, to suppress hypertension? I can't remember. I know, if you see DASH, that's for hypertension, dieting.
My dad was on a bunch of blood pressure medicine and so on and so forth, and after watching my competition, he got really focused on his health.
Mhm.
We live all the way at the top of Holiday Hills, and he lives
Oh.
across the street, and he started walking every day for the last year.
Wow.
He has a nicer place to walk now, too.
Yeah,
It doesn't look
exactly.
lunar anymore.
Exactly, so he walks down to Walgreens every day, but he's off all of his medication, and now
Nice.
he's even
It's ridiculous
learning to run.
Nice.
how much just physical activity and proper nutrition changes medical needs. Ridiculous.
Yeah. And some people respond well to a scare, others ignore it. I've seen it go both ways. Anyways, diabetes getting back, okay, results from abnormal regulation of blood glucose. Your type 1 diabetics, okay, inability of the pancreas to secrete sufficient amounts of insulin. Normally, this is child onset or you're born with it. Your type 2, the cells have a decreased ability to respond to the action of insulin. Again, can be exacerbated by what? Obesity and a sedentary lifestyle. Okay? So your type 1, your type 1s, you kind of got to give them a little bit of a break. That's something that they can't help.
It's genetic.
Oh yeah, if you're born with it, yeah, that's definitely a genetic component. Usually early onset in the young years, or the type 2s though, that can be greatly exacerbated by obesity, all right?
Is type 2 more common nowadays?
I'll defer to Nathan
Yeah.
because I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, it's the most preventable too.
Yeah,
Sad.
they said China is inheriting our problem. Okay, osteoporosis. Men and ladies, the ladies probably know better than we do, okay? Bone density, okay, and weakening of bones generally due to what? Premenopausal or menopausal symptoms, which all women are probably going to get into, okay? Now,
Poor diet.
there's all kinds of differing prescriptions, remedies, and so forth.
Boniva.
Calcium's a nice way to start, but sometimes it's not easily absorbed. okay? So, gang, hear me now, weight-bearing physical activity is important in maintaining bone density and reducing the risk of osteoporosis. So if you're trying to sell yourself as a personal trainer, like I said, Carol, the lady that puts this class on, I was doing some training with her. She was going through that, part of my continuing education credits. Took an online course, Action Plan for Menopause, okay? I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know a little bit more about it now than I did before. Became a little bit more educated with hormone replacement therapy, and all of that can even have side effects aside from fighting the osteoporosis. So it's very serious. And again though, if anything, weight-bearing exercise can help mitigate that. What a better reason to get somebody in the gym, okay? Also, sedentary lifestyle and smoking can increase the risk. Pregnancy and lactation, okay? We spoke about that a little bit the other night. Okay, ADA's key components of a healthy lifestyle during pregnancy, appropriate weight gain, not use, and again, I'm not picking on the ladies, but I've seen it. That's an excuse for the food bag, you know? Instead of a nice bowl of ice cream, it's a nice gallon of ice cream and all the rest of it.
Or
Okay?
half gallon's all right.
I can eat anything.
Appropriate physical activity, consumption of a variety of foods, okay? Appropriate and timely vitamin and mineral supplementation. All right,